Hello, Wasteland. Tune those ham radios and hide your chems because you are listening to the Pip-Boys, a Fallout podcast. We your hosts, Josh and Austin, cover all things Fallout. Today, with the help of Alec, we continue our quest to rank each and every vault in the Fallout universe by just how horrifying we find them. But today's episode is all about the Fallout TV show. Boys, how excited are you to talk about this fucking show?
I can't wait. I can't believe it's this fucking good, dude. Oh my god.
Hell yeah, I'm right there with you.
I absolutely love the show. We were recording this Sunday. I watched 2 on Saturday. I watched the other 6 today. Basically, coming in an hour after, just basically spent the last hour just processing everything that just happened, everything I saw, because a lot goes down in this.
I'm right there with you.
And we'll get into it, but like, I don't think there's like one moment where I'm like, fuck yeah, they nailed it. The whole show is so much better than I could have ever dreamed of. Like, it's unapologetically that word, Fallout. And I just like, you did it. They fucking did it. And with Amazon, it's always hit or miss. So I'm so glad
100%.
that Amazon pulled this one together and we have this final product. So thank you, Amazon Prime, for not fucking this up.
I love their title screens. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
that.
those were cool too, right?
Those were incredible.
Those were incredible. And then the first thing that you see was the end as like the first episode, and I was like, "What?" I thought I did something wrong. I literally stopped it. Was like, "Oh, did I somehow like scrub all the way to the back?" It's like, "Oh no, it's just called the end." Anyway, but before, I would be remiss because we brought this up several times on content. Fallout 4, the patch is alive. It's a thing. It's coming. So before we get into the show, let's just talk about the Fallout 4 patch just a little bit. Are we excited or we're not excited? What's up?
Hold on. Let me just give you a quick nuclear Fallout news.
Thank you. You were ready, and I didn't pitch it to you. I'm so sorry.
It's like the one bit we have on the show, Austin.
My bad. Start it over from the top.
Let me tell you, after watching this show, all I need in this patch, because they say a lot of new weapons, all I need is the Ghoul's revolver in Fallout 4 now.
Ooh,
that thing rips, dude.
It's honestly almost like a grenade launcher.
Yes, that thing rips. If that's not in this patch, it's a dud. Take it back, ship it. I don't want it anymore. Return it, please.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot what it looked like because it was like ka-dunk. Like it had a noise to it. I want
So
gulpers.
badass.
Give me gulpers in Fallout 4. Don't think about it. just they're there. They're there.
Don't go near rivers.
You don't need to think about it. But also, they all are also adding like a quest line for something, right? Did I read that correctly? I thought they were.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But if you just give me like one small stretch of quests and like new guns, new like creatures, then I'm all in. On any excuse to play Fallout 4 again and its current gen like updated. Woo-wee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hopefully,
I'm excited.
Yeah, after the show, I'm definitely itching.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, they definitely planned that accordingly. So, when we were talking about the Fallout 4 patch, did we ever say it's probably going to come out right after the show? Because that probably should have been, because with it getting pushed this far, wouldn't that have been kind of like, duh?
It should have been, but we were always like, oh, it's too little, too late. It's not happening. Or at least that was my sentiment.
Me too.
But it makes sense. Like when it was announced alongside them bumping up the show 2 days, you never see that. I was totally expected the 12th. They're like, just kidding, it's the 10th. Also, here's a patch at the end of the month. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would bet somewhere down the line they were like, we're ready to release this, but the show was just close enough where they're like, let's just hold it. Yeah. It'll be good for us marketing wise, and we'll probably get more money out of folks. So,
and then I know
think that's the right move.
Yeah, and I know a lot of Fallout fans are like, well, where's the 3 remake or the 3 remaster from the leaked emails? It's coming. That announcing it in an article alongside the show is not the way to announce that game. That is like a showcase game, but I do believe it's coming.
100%. If anything, it would just be like a rumbling. Like someone would ask, and be like, we're cooking.
We're
And
cooking.
that's it. We're cooking,
Goddamn.
baby. But that would honestly, okay, it's probably smart that they wouldn't do that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that would make everyone think we're getting 1, we're getting 2, we're getting 3, we're
Three.
getting 4 again, we're getting New
Yeah.
Vegas. Yeah, it would be the whole fucking thing. Van Buren's coming back,
Mhm.
all that crazy shit. So okay, so let's get right into it. The show. So the way I have this structured, guys, is we're gonna talk about just the
Mhm.
show in general, and then we'll get into the vaults
Mhm.
after that. So we'll start with Josh. What's your thoughts on this show, man?
Man, this show is incredible. It's up there with The Last of Us in terms of video game adaptations.
Mhm.
I remember being a little I thought the trailer was awesome. The news alongside the trailer, some of it I was really hesitant on. You know, a lot of the backstory, in terms of the Fallout guy. Are we going full spoilers? I feel like we should also warn if we're going full
Yeah, it's more fun
spoilers.
for us to do this. So we'll just say, hey, full spoilers if you
Full
haven't
spoilers.
seen the whole show, or if you don't care, cool, tune in and listen. But if you have not, watch it and come back. So
Full
continue, Josh.
spoilers.
Please watch it though. Like it's a
Yeah,
good show.
yeah. Please,
Even if you're not a big Fallout fan like myself, you'll love the
hundred
show.
percent, 100% watch the show. But I can't believe, I said I wanted them to kind of do a lot of backstory like The Last of Us did with pre-war stuff, and they did it. The Vault-Tec stuff in the show rips. Walter Goggins
Mhm.
rips, dude.
Walton.
When his wife is like, dude, we're dropping the bombs. I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe
And that
it.
was like a double too, because they're like he's listening to the whole thing happening, right? And then McLean comes out and
Yeah,
he's like, hey, they call me Hank. And you're like,
yeah.
It took me
ah!
a second to put that
Put
together. It just took
Uh-huh.
a little too long.
I don't know, man. It worked for me, but here's the thing.
It did.
Oh no, I'm
When
saying it worked, but it just was for a second. Like I forgot that his name was Hank, so that's why it took me a couple
Gotcha.
seconds to connect the
I
dots.
get. You know what? I'm kind of with you a little bit because you hadn't seen that character in a minute, so
Right.
I
Like since
can
episode
understand
1.
why you're like, what's his name? But yeah, it totally worked for me. But it's one of those things where leading up to the episode, I kind of called it happening, and it still fucking hit. Like I was just like, I
Right.
guarantee you this is what's happening. Boom, still worked. I would argue the pre-war and the Voltec stuff was the most intriguing part of the whole show. Like
I agree.
they did well done like Fallout stuff the whole show, and I'm
Right.
so happy that they pulled that off. But
Yeah.
I just think the pre-war stuff is a lot of people were
Mhm.
asking for that, and they fucking
They
delivered.
did.
Hell yes, loved it.
100%. And I feel like another big thing too. I think what makes this one so successful as opposed to The Last of Us is like The Last of Us, you really have to follow the structure of that story.
Mm.
And I think the changes they made in the show are beautiful and they're devastating. Versus Fallout, you kind of get to have fun and play with it.
Mhm.
And they still did I'm looking for my father storyline, but this is
Like,
the best they've
yep,
ever done it. A hundred
100%.
percent.
I was like, oh, they just Fallout 3'd it, and I didn't care. But I was just like,
Yeah.
cool. And then I moved on. I was like, because they were telling it in such a different way. And my like unsung MVP, Norm. Just saying. Norm is my
Well,
dude.
Yeah.
yeah.
Norm is my guy. The guy who's just like, he's kind of just like vaults suck. And then he's like just a normal person like,
Hmm.
reacting to things that you're like, this is kind of how I would react. I'd be very like,
Yeah.
what
Mhm.
the fuck are you talking about?
Hmm.
But yeah, Norm is my guy. I stand Norm.
Yeah.
Just Norm. Norm in general. But
Yep.
Alec, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I absolutely love the show. Like the amount of times I just was like said, what the fuck is going on? Like
Yeah.
just the amount of times, like mostly at the vault stuff, because it's one of those things. Like the more they kind of peel back the curtain of what's actually going on, it's just like
Mhm.
the more messed up you realize.
Mhm.
Like they did it so well, because that's the kind of the whole point of, I'm assuming, why you guys started doing the show, is just how much messed up stuff is in the vaults.
Yep. You've
And
learned alongside us, and
exactly,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
love that you're along with this ride for us and with this new, fresh perspective. Not new, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because like I said, I've only played Fallout 4,
Mhm.
so that's kind of my entry or my view into this franchise. And yeah, just seeing how well they showed how messed up Vault-Tec is,
Yeah.
it just bravo, bravo.
Mhm. Very
Mhm.
well done. My favorite line in the whole show was a somewhat subtle one, but it kind of speaks to what this podcast is.
Mhm.
I don't remember who said it, but they were talking to Lucy, and Lucy was in Vault 4, I
Yeah.
think. And someone said,
Mhm.
What's the experiment in your vault?" And she's like,
Yeah.
"What do you mean?" And I was
Yeah.
like,
we're just
Fuck,
happy.
I love
We
this.
just
I
live
love
life.
this. I
Yeah.
love this
Yep.
so much.
Mhm.
But they fucking said it like they just knew, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
they pulled it off, guys.
Mm.
100%.
My thought on the show is like I've said 1,000 times, it just felt right. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
it could have so easily, like they could have gone in one direction, and because like small kind of example, Fallout 3 in a way, like it's my favorite video game of all time, my favorite Fallout.
Yeah.
The way they portray Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 3 is very unique. Like they're
Mhm.
kind of and they go into it in some depth, but they're kind of the heroes of that story, and you don't get that anywhere else.
100%.
And here, like they could have gone a similar direction. I'm not saying Brotherhood, but they could have like really dove into
Mhm.
one other aspect in a weird way, and they just completely nailed everything they tried to do. And I'm just, man, Walton Goggins, like you said, stole the show. Him as
Oh, yeah.
the Ghoul is
Yeah.
great. I love how they're so, because I was in my head this whole time. I'm like, we have like 5 storylines going at once, and it's
Mhm.
not super hard to follow. Like I'm following all of them
Yeah.
pretty well. Like
Yeah.
we had Lucy, we had the Ghoul, we had
Maximus.
Mhm.
and then we had his squire once he left him,
Right.
and at one point we had the guy who gets his head cut off, and the
Mhm.
dog who is kind of coined dog meat in this
Yeah.
movie. And then we
The vault.
also had the pre-war stuff. Like we
Yeah.
had so many storylines going on at one time, and I
It
loved
all
it.
made sense.
It
I love it.
it to me felt very like Avengers Infinity War, where you're jumping from group of characters to group of characters, and you're so intrigued by everything. And then when you come back to something, like you come back to Vault 33 or you come back to Lucy, you're like, oh my God, yeah, I
Yep.
forgot about this. I was so intrigued with the Ghoul or
Mhm.
with the pre-war stuff that I forgot about this, and this stuff is just as great, and this stuff rips just as much, and
Mhm.
they're balancing all these A, B, C, D, E storylines, and they're doing it just so effortlessly and so well. Like I loved
Mhm.
it.
Yep.
And
Yeah. I
go
was
ahead.
talking to a coworker yesterday, and just after I had watched just the first 2, and it's one of those things when you explain to somebody that there's like 3 main characters, and it's like, man, that's a lot of storyline and stuff to follow. And I'm like, hey, even after episode 2, like they're
Mhm.
pulling it off. Like
Yeah.
the first episode is kind of like introducing you and kind of giving them a little bit of your backstory for all 3 of them.
Mhm.
And then story 2 just immediately pops off like, oh, they all cross paths. They're all here in the
Yeah.
spot. And then they disperse again after that.
Right. And
100%.
I think that's why like I did like the searching for my dad stuff a lot more this time, is
Mhm.
because we relate it to the MacGuffin, which is this dude's head.
Mhm.
And we had 3 different factions all after it, and it's with different people at different times. It gets eaten by a fucking creature in the
Gulper.
lake, and then a
Ugh.
gulper, and then it gets retrieved and goes along with someone else, and someone
Yeah,
else has it,
no,
and it goes
no,
back and
Austin,
forth.
no. When I saw the fingers in its mouth, I was like,
Yes,
nope,
that.
And then in the show they give you the origin, and it's really
Mhm.
creepy and really Vault-Tec,
Yes,
and it's so
yes,
good.
it's awesome.
yeah.
But I brought up my favorite line, and I know what Josh's favorite line is of this whole show. It's when Maximus goes, "You mean like with my cock?"
And it
That
explodes.
scene was hilarious. Just so
Yeah, not me
uncannily,
though.
just out of the
Not
blue.
me.
Yeah,
Just
Mm-mm.
want to have sex?
yeah.
You mean like with my
It's
cock?
so weird because I feel like Fallout takes itself so seriously, and this
Mhm.
show just threw all that out the window. It was so
Yep.
just corny, get to the point. The humor was pretty good. I was taken aback by it at first, where it's like, man, they're saying like fuck a lot, and they're just kind of all over the
Mhm.
place and cracking jokes and getting straight to it. And I was like, is this Fallout? But then by episode 3, I was like, this is fucking Fallout. This
It
zany kind of vibe
Yeah.
is awesome.
it made total sense to me because like these people who are living in the wastes don't have a proper education. So like the way
Yeah.
they would talk and the way they would go about doing things,
Hmm.
and it made sense to me. Now
Yeah.
in reality, if something like this happened, would they be probably even more down the line, kind of
Yeah.
stupid, nonverbal? Probably. But
Right.
like the fact that we get this universe, like yeah, it made sense to me. And
100%.
where the show was left off, we have so many branches that we can talk about.
Yes,
Mhm.
dude.
The Squire becoming a ghoul
Hmm.
at the end,
Yeah.
and it's at the end, but like one of the last episodes, we have the Vault 32 in the new Overseer over there, that blonde from
Mhm.
31, right? Like that's a place like what
Which I
go ahead.
kind of predicted it during the season, like when she had the baby and all that. Like when it's like, oh, she's gonna be an overseer.
Yeah.
Like because
Yeah,
they kind of dropped the breadcrumbs of the whole 31 thing.
she was an attractive minor character. And then it's like, well, you know what I mean? Hey, I'm just saying it's the truth. But then there's other places where you can go to where it's like Lucy chasing after Hank now with the ghoul, and they're basically like together now, and it's like
some might say a companion.
Whoa, that's crazy. Who would say that? That's no way. But yeah, there's just so many, like, I am so impressed that they not only pulled it off, it felt real, it felt like a genuine Fallout show, and they made me want a season 2. I was very
100%.
prepared for this to be a one and done.
Oh yeah.
They did it awesome, and that might be the case. Like, I don't know if they've announced a season 2. I have no idea.
The way it ends, though, it's like,
I'm with you.
You have too many breadcrumbs.
I agree. That's not how things get made most of the time. So, but I am totally with you. I'm just saying I'm surprised by how well they pulled off all the storylines and left all the branching ways that this could go now. Even like I'm all about it.
100%. And I think you bring the same crew back and you start cooking again, and we can start interweaving all this stuff. And that final cliffhanger made me want to just boot up and get right back into New Vegas. Like I got my time in there, never finished it, but it makes me want to goddamn just jump back in and roll credits.
I saw a meme right before we recorded. It was like people wanting to jump into Fallout New Vegas, and it was like a guy jumping instead of like was doing like one of those jumping punches, but instead of the fist, it was like the error of like Fallout NV.exe has crashed.
Oh yeah. Good times.
One thing I wanted to bring up too is I just love all the gamification that is in the show.
Yeah,
right.
One shall always get sidetracked with bullshit or whatever the line is. Like, yep.
Yeah,
and then the Pip-Boy, just kind of like location, 100%. The tracker, the map,
all that stuff. Lucy gets right out the vault, just looks at the first like point of interest, which is this kind of pier, and just walks, just goes straight to it.
And I love and then the door.
Yeah, they pulled off the out of the vault moment.
I agree.
I couldn't ask for more from this show. I really couldn't.
Well, and then
go ahead.
Go for it.
I was just gonna say the thing that really got me is very subtly hinted at, but like the fact that there was another nuke that was dropped on that sandy shores, whatever it was, like
that hit.
I think that was so canonically that would have to be a mini nuke, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that would be like an actual nuke. Like I know it's Vault Tech, but like maybe you know what I mean. But
that really took me by surprise. And then other gamifications too. Is there are times where like the dialogue feels like it's something that could have been chosen by a player, right?
Ooh,
like when
you mean like with my cock,
like with my cock. When Lucy walks out and just is like, "Hey, I'm gonna charisma riz up the fucking ghoul and try to de-escalate the situation." She is not passing those speech checks, but she's trying. And then it feels like there's like choices, like the games too. Like Maximus stops this confrontation and he thinks he's doing the right thing. The guy's like, "Oh yeah, he's just fucking my chickens." And I couldn't. I was laughing. I was
sorry, dude. I found him fucking my chickens. And then Maximus is like, oh.
And it like totally made me feel like playing Fallout and making a decision and then being like, you know what? Wow, no, I didn't.
I gotta reload. I gotta reload.
Lucy's talking to the overseer with one eye, and she's like, "Oh well, what's down at 12?" And he's like, "Whoa, why are you asking this?" Like, you know, Lucy could have ended the conversation. She could have just clicked the "okay, bye." But out of all the dialogue options, she clicked the "ask about 12." Like, it felt so much like the game.
That's a good point. I never thought about that. The way the dialogue is said and like the way certain characters react to said dialogue, it does feel like the game. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
And even just like I said, the interactions, like the one to me where the scientist just walks up on Lucy as she's like sleeping that first night out of the vault and has the fire going. And it's like, you don't have a fire out in the open.
100%.
It reminded me of when, because this has happened several times when I'm playing Fallout, where I just get spooked the fuck out by a caravan dude. I'm just in there, you know, going through my resources or whatever. I turn to the right, fucking Jesus Christ! And there's a fucking ramen with the dude, and like, oh my god, I've killed them before just out of reflex. Like, oh shit. But yeah, so that is what it reminded me of, though. I'm glad we got a dog. I'm glad dog meat is in this movie. And then when Squire puts him in that box, I was like, fuck this dude.
Fuck this dude.
Fuck this
When
motherfucker.
when the ghoul kills him, I was like, oh my god, really? Episode 2? And we're doing this? And then he brings it back. I'm like, thank God. Thank God he's there for the rest of the show.
Oh yeah. And then there's the line, "You're just not him." Or "You're just not her." And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
fuck. Don't be doing this to me. Not the
Yeah.
Fallout show. Anyway.
Mhm.
All right. There's a lot of stuff I thought about and then forgot and then thought about and then forgot. So we'll just get into the vaults and go from there. How's that?
Sounds
Yep.
good.
Works for me.
All right. So I want to start with Vault 4 because that was more like
Mhm.
a sub vault.
A pit stop.
Yeah.
But the points I have there are the Hawthorns. The Hawthorns
Mhm.
were the scientists that we saw also in that ad with Walton Goggins' character.
Yeah.
Cooper, what's his actual name? Do you remember?
Howard.
Cooper Howard. Thank you.
Cooper Howard.
Cooper Howard, yeah. And there's a whole thing of like the communists with and that being a thing of how the
Mhm.
Cooper is like raking in the dough for communism and shit, in for or against, like however you see it. But those are the same scientists that were in that ad. Those are the scientists that we find in Follow or in Vault 4, and those are the same
Mhm.
scientists who create the Gulpers.
Yeah.
And we see what that means, and we even see the one-eyed overseer say like that was my
Great uncle.
great
Rick,
uncle Rick Peter. I think it was Peter.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, and it's like, and then Shady Sands, like that in it
Mhm.
too, where they let people, which is usually you don't get like a positive thing about a vault, right? Like
Right.
this vault took in
Mhm.
essentially like survivors from what happened to Shady Sands. And
Right.
yes, they're a little fucked up by it. Who
Mhm.
wouldn't be? But they're doing the whole flame mother to Moldaver.
Yeah.
And that they all just start stripping.
That was,
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love
love that. There's one good shot in there. There's one good shot
Yeah.
in there.
But also then too, they're like, Lucy, you assaulted a man, you went to 12. We told you not to go to 12. Your punishment is death by wasteland. Here's 2 weeks of
Yeah.
supplies. And when Maximus just fucks it all up, I was like, no.
Here's the thing. Here's the
come
thing.
on.
Even with that all happening, I'm like, good for him. Like,
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
from what he saw, like she was gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and
Black
he
bag
busts in
over her
there.
head, 2
Yeah,
guys
man.
carrying her.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like
He
that's a quick reality check when you're just sitting there in your
Mhm.
robe, shoveling popcorn in your
Gave
face.
Yeah.
popcorn, gave up the robe, gave up the slippers, gave up the
caviar.
oysters for
Mhm.
the homie, for
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
homie, who he might be able to fuck later.
Mhm.
But that, for the homie.
Yeah. Then the homie turns around and is like, hey, you stole the fusion core. It's the right thing to
Okay.
do. We're doing the ethical
Yep.
thing. We're dropping it down the medical chute, which God bless him. Loses
Which
the
is
power on me though.
I
Which
love
is go ahead.
the part you just hear the faint thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also it's good writing, but it's also like you said, kind of like how the dialogue feels real. That
Mhm.
feels like a genuine quest I would go on, and I'm like, I
Right.
feel bad. So instead
Yeah.
of keeping said loot, I would be like, here you go, and I
Yeah,
would
exactly.
do that because I'm
Yeah.
stupid.
That
and I
felt
would
like
do that in the game.
that felt like the final moment before you get the like da-dum quest complete thing is like,
Mhm.
here's your last
Yep.
decision. Are
Mhm.
you returning it or are you keeping it? Right. And then
And
from there
it
you go
changes your
forward.
karma, it changes your rewards, it
Yeah,
changes. Yep.
literally.
So, so yeah, that the Vault 4 was that vault with Shady
Mhm.
Sands refugees essentially.
And then
Go
you
ahead.
also see in the like when she's first getting into level 12, you see that somebody gave birth to like piranhas.
Yeah, dude.
That I mean, are you confused for that or
No, it was just
Okay.
another messed up thing that you see in
Yeah.
the vault. It's just,
yeah? It's because of those scientists there, and I'm just explaining it for the pod now. But
Yep.
they were trying to make cross species between creatures that were
radioactive
resistant. Yes,
Yeah.
which in theory, at least as a starting point, maybe not the way they went about it. I guess it makes sense, but like the
Mhm.
way they went about it, it's like, all right, Frankenstein,
Yeah.
motherfucker. But
yeah.
so maybe a shot instead of like trying to cross pollinate these motherfuckers. But yeah, so that didn't go too well, and it led to a cool scene where Lucy finds them in their pods, like in
Mhm.
level 12, and we're like, oh fuck, what the hell's going on? And they're just trying to, in truth, they're just trying to like ease their pain and have them sort of like die
Yeah.
peacefully because we can't let you live because you're a
Mhm.
fucking monstrosity. But yeah, that was a turn that I didn't expect, but it felt
Yeah.
very like the twists and turns that you would get from a Vault's lore. So like
100%.
I was all into it. So, and then we get into Vaults 31, 32, and 33. and they're all interconnected. And I was like, huh, I don't think I've ever seen vaults do that. I've seen
Yeah.
there's one lore I think where they dug a hole and found another vault, but they weren't like connected or something. So this one,
big signs of like this way to 31.
yeah. And then for that would be in the 32, and then you see that same thing for 32 to 33. Apparently, it was there, just it served a different purpose. But yeah, they're all interconnected. They have these trades in between these vaults, and the vault dwellers think like every vault is sort of equal to an extent. I think one of them, it was said like they might have better education, they might have better
Right.
crops or whatever. But like for the most part, it was like everyone's kind of like an equal footing here.
Better mashed potatoes.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
almost like you rehearse that. It's almost like it's what you always say. Weird.
And I do like that it is for preserving the gene pool. You know, you think about these vaults, you think about just everyone's fucking everyone. You know, everyone's inbred. It's disgusting. It's
Yeah,
gross. But
Chet and Lucy were doing some stuff. All right.
yeah,
They were.
yeah.
They just were.
Yeah.
They're
So
cousins. They didn't know better.
it was
They were
so fun.
experimenting.
Yeah, when she's like, no, it's wrong to do that with your cousin. Like long term.
Poor Chet.
Yeah.
Chet, man. He also fucked his cousin, so who knows?
Mhm.
But yeah, so you get the the cousins fucking cousins, and then we get the buds. I want to get into
Yeah.
buds. Buds was the whole idea, right? Where you said the gene pool. The gene pool was literally just stuff that was selected by Bud Askins that he liked. That wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily beneficial for what he wanted. He just had his managers and then people who had nice genetics. That was it. That's why these people that were originally in these vaults are chosen.
Right.
Kind of fucked up.
What's the line that gets switched twice in the show here, where it's like the key to this is time or whatever,
Yeah.
which Betty says, and then it's like the key to this is management, which Buddy says.
The best weapon or whatever
Yes.
is
Something.
time.
Yeah, that's
and then
what it
it's
is,
like and then they said something like the way we survive
is with
after we essentially take on the time part, that the way we survive is management.
Yeah. I love that. I love that being the case for Buds, and we see a couple pods already open. He has the management team in there, and they plan on just going a long time with it. You know,
it's the long game. It's the long game, man.
Well, because they literally had them all the managers like right in a row, and it's basically like here's the next overseer, like right next to them. Like
the whole vault is just cryopods. There's nothing else besides cryopods, and then you got Bud. You got Bud Askins, his little Roomba.
Which is funny because I don't know if you guys watch this with captions, but they literally call him Brain on a Roomba.
No.
Like, I did watch with captions. I did not notice that.
This is like cast name. If you look at the X-ray thing, it's like Brain on a Roomba.
That's awesome. Yeah. So but someone had to lead them all to actually waking up in the cryopods at a direct time. So I guess that had to be Bud. Had to be Bud and his little brain on a Roomba. And it's not a robo brain. It's much worse. But yeah, and then he has a little syringe. I will stop you. And Norm just like essentially walks away. He's like, "Where are you going?
Come back here.
No,
I'll tell you if you stop.
You'll never find out."
He's gonna find out.
Oh shit. Yeah, that was a good moment. I like that too. But yeah, the vaults 31, 32, and 33 were essentially all planned out by Bud Askins in a sense to take his management team and have them all become overseers through a voting process, which I don't think that was planned for, but I think it was still, they kind of worked that into the plan where like, let's make it seem like it's all being voted. All the ones from 31 are being voted overseer. They even have a slogan: when things look glum, vote 31, which doesn't rhyme, but whatever. Close enough. So yeah. And I had the term management there. I had vault tech, and the reveal at the end, like we kind of got into, like seeing the whole plan come full motion, and all those like rich and powerful people in that room, but then having the one person who is like, "This is what we're gonna do," be Walton Goggins' character's wife, which I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry. Barb. Is it Barb? I thought Barb was
Betty.
the other one.
I'm
thinking of Betty. I'm what?
I don't know. Something with B.
Betty Pearson? Wasn't Betty Pearson
she's the overseer of 33?
Correct. So it might be Barb.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah,
I can find out in like 2 seconds if I just search it. But one of them, yes, is like a huge. She's the reason they kind of get it all together and put that plan into motion. So like she did this. I don't know. I don't care. She is the one. Okay. So I do have a question for y'all.
Yeah.
Moldaver. Do they explain? Did I miss that she got frozen or something? Because I don't know how she's here and looks identical to how she did in pre-war. I have no idea.
Me neither, honestly.
I have no answers. I'm assuming she had her own little pod or something, but like
that would be my guess, because I think if I'm remembering correctly, she said something like, "Oh, my division got overtaken by your mom's," when she was talking to Lucy.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So maybe
she was talking about the cold fusion and like wanting what she's gonna do with the infinite power and all that.
Right.
So she like weaseled her way into Vault-Tec near the end. Is that what you're getting at?
Well, no, she didn't weasel her way in. Her company just got bought outright by Vault-Tec.
Oh, that's right. They did say that.
So I think because she was working on this cold fusion, she got put in there, and then at some point.
I'm not saying your explanation is a stretch. I'm saying writing narratively that's kind of a stretch to me. But
I feel that, because especially like when we see her the first time and she's like at the Hollywood is ending, like preserve America or communism.
The first time we see her is in the vault when she raids with the Raiders.
Right, but like the first time we see her pre-war, I mean. Like when she's at the meeting with Goggins and like they're kind of having like an ideological back and forth, I was like, holy shit, how has this woman survived like 270 years? And I kept wondering that, and then we show her again with Lucy's mom, and I was like, it still doesn't make sense to me, dog. Like, what the hell?
Also, Lucy's mom, a looker. Just saying, Lucy's mom.
Lucy herself, a looker. Oh my god.
Lucy herself, a looker. All right. Call me. I'm married. Fuck.
Call me.
Call Alec.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it, and then going from there, like I don't have a decent answer, because if it is what Alec is explaining, where it's like she got bought out, and for whatever reason with her company she got frozen too. I hate that. I'm just saying,
it's not just because of her company, it's because like she was the one to develop that cold fusion technology.
So maybe Vault-Tec got it from her. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
so like she's kind of the source of it, so she would have it herself.
Makes sense why she's kind of the leader of like the communism thing in LA, because her company and her power got bought out by capitalism, which makes sense why she's the leader of that meeting there.
It's also a nice like I don't know, back and forth between like, and I'm just using these terms, like the American dream, which we know is shitty and false, but like against this communism, it's like, well, they're both wrong. It's like there really isn't. They were just destined to fail at this point. But like this, and that was what ended with this result from Barb. Thanks, Barb.
Yeah,
fucker. Yeah. Led for all these bombs to go off, and essentially they essentially say without saying that Vault-Tec dropped the bombs.
100%.
Oh yeah. So, and then like because they had that boardroom, and like everybody was like dropping all the ideas what they would do with their own vaults, and I don't know if you guys picked up on anything that in that scene.
I love that.
In the moment, I did. I don't remember what exactly they gave, but I did go when someone said something, but I don't remember which one it was. So forgive me. I'm sorry. I
did notice in the map behind them that one was actually somewhat close to where I live in Michigan, because you can see one dot in the Lower Peninsula of Michigan.
Whoa. So. Fallout 5 set in Michigan, confirmed, guys.
I mean, they haven't done the Midwest yet. I'm just saying.
And all that means, Alec, is that if you were around that time, you would have got blown the fuck up. I'm just saying. 100%.
Nah, Alec would have been.
I mean, you don't lie. Like there was one time I did learn at one point that Grand Rapids, the city I live in, is at one point was a nuclear target.
Damn.
Because it's just so central. Is that why? Kind of
central, but it also I think it was also like it had a lot of factories, manufacturing. So
gotcha. Because I live in Iowa. I'm always like, if someone were to like target the U.S., it would be like California, it'd be like New York, Texas, and then the center. And I'm like, I'm right in the center. So like maybe don't do that. Don't do it. So, oh well, if it happens, I'm like, and then we learn the trick, right? If it happens, the thumb trick, we get like a origin for that, which I knew that, but I didn't know the origin. I knew what the thumb meant, but Yeah.
I feel like at one time I did know that because like it's one of those when he said it, it like unlocked a memory, but it's like I don't remember like where I learned it, kind of a thing. But
I
it's
learned
like I
it
know
because
I've
of
heard it.
Fallout, like as a high schooler
Gotcha.
or a middle schooler or whatever. But yeah. And I didn't. They even show Cooper. I forgot his last name again.
Howard.
Thank you, Cooper. Oh, you think
As
that's because of
Vault Boy?
Todd? You think that's because of Todd?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Anyway, but they show Cooper Howard as like literally Vault Boy. Like he has
Yeah.
the smile, and then
Yeah.
it pans
I
over
popped
to,
off for that.
and then it has the
Yeah.
sign, and I was like,
In the credits,
all right.
yeah.
Which, yeah, I was like, I remember hearing that news that we were gonna get that backstory, and I was like, why are we focusing on that? Like, those aren't the questions I want answered. Like, this seems like prequels level of dumb. But I think the execution, like I eat my fucking words. The execution here was incredible when it comes to all that stuff.
Did they ever go to exactly what happened to their daughter?
At the end, yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Did she pass away? I just don't
We
recall what
we
they
don't
said.
know their fate yet.
No.
Okay.
We don't know the fate. I feel like him working the birthday party. I think something about alimony might be brought
That's
up.
alimony. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like, so we saw what happened to Cooper Howard. We don't exactly know what happened to his wife, but we know what part she had playing within it.
Yeah.
But we don't know exactly where the daughter is in all of this.
My thought is in Vault 31.
Think so?
Same.
My thought.
She got weaseled in there.
I mean, why wouldn't she? She kept saying in the show that she wanted to be put in one of the good vaults.
Right.
I just
What's better than just being frozen.
My one thought of that is we know where she is when the bombs are dropped.
Yeah.
She's with her dad
I like
on the horse,
my read on it is that
and he's
like
both
after Coop hears that, like, here's his wife being like, hey, we're dropping the bombs. He divorces her, like gets full custody, and she just goes to 31. Like she still stays with Vault Tech. She goes in 31. Like we see the buddies, like McLean is executive assistant, right? So it's probably like
something like that.
your CEO, your CFO, all your big higher ups. Betty, like she is probably within that. Like Cooper's wife is within one of those pods for sure.
Sure.
But without the kid.
I'm curious how that plays out, and I hope they get something like that in season 2, because like initially, whether she's just portraying this or if she doesn't even really know herself, but she initially says all that to protect, like, this is to protect my kid, right? So like I'm curious, so like if Cooper does get full custody, right, and how that changes her character. She's maybe like, this is all I have left is this mission with Vault-Tec. Like I'm just curious if she kind of spirals, you know what I mean? I'm curious how that character progresses with those events. But
we'll probably find out more, just because the way the season ends is like, where's my family? And it's point blank, like has the thing, and dude just flies away.
Where's my family? I am intrigued. I could not be more like elated with the Ghoul as a character. Walton Goggins' performance with that character. Have we had the Ghouls like sipping on medication to like
that was one of the things that the show brought to the lore that I thought was so fucking awesome. The Ghouls like trying to repeat their name. My name's Michael. My name's like Michelle or whatever. And that the first guy like trying to keep consciousness, trying to keep like active and from going feral. And the reliant on medication, like I felt like that kind of put like a bit of a time bomb element on the Ghoul. Like he's looking for this head, and he wants answers, but he's strapped to how many vials he has. Like I love that.
And
I love though that now that when they had the supermarket thing, he just has this whole stash now, so it's like he can live forever basically.
I mean, they even say like he's been a very successful bounty hunter for a long time. So like he had the resources, caps, whatever, what have you, to get said medication that he would need to essentially elongate his life. But
100%.
I do like that scene, and then the scene where the Ghoul is talking to like another Ghoul. And the Ghoul turns. He's like, sometimes a dude's got to eat another dude or whatever. And
ass jerky.
I was like,
ass jerky.
and then they bite off each other's finger, Lucy and the
Yeah.
ghoul, and then the finger gets reattached. All very Fallout. Love it. I'm all down
100%.
for it. We get the stim pack right away in the show, right? Just like
Oh yeah.
pa when
Yeah.
she gets stabbed by the raider.
Insane.
Mhm.
Insane opening.
Cool scene
Opening.
too. Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I loved it. It was great, man. What am I leaving out? What have we
Got
not
some
talked
ranking
about?
to do.
Oh, okay. I was to say more of the show.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But
Before
Uh,
yeah, sorry.
no,
more
you're
of
okay.
the
Let's jump
more
to
of
the
the
gun.
show.
Jump to the gun.
One thing I do also want to point out is because like when it comes to these games, we can constantly go back to like a lot of these iconic characters, right?
Mhm.
Think of like Hancock or um the folks in Megaton. Like there's just so many
Mhm.
iconic side characters and NPCs in these games. And I feel like one way the show kind of tackled that was just hiring a bunch of character actors. Like when the Norm is the little brother from Hannah Montana, I was like, hell yeah,
Oh.
dude. Or like the shopkeep was the hooker from My Name is Earl, or the radio guy is that one
Mm-hmm.
comedian, or Chris Parnell as the overseer in Vault 4. I was like, there
Yeah.
are so many character actors in here that it's like making these NPCs, these little side characters, feel like NPCs, like in an actual game. Like I loved it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
There's
They
so many
they did.
times I brought up the X-ray. It's like I know that voice from somewhere.
Yeah,
Uh huh.
yeah.
Yeah, they did character writing very, very good, and
Hmm.
it's not very surprising because like Todd oversaw it, and like I know he probably didn't have that much influence on that,
Yeah.
but like I really truly feel that Todd would have been like no, if it
Hmm.
wasn't right, Todd would have been like we're not
Mhm.
doing this.
Yeah.
So say what you want about him hoarding Fallout, hoarding
Hmm.
Elder Scrolls, the dude makes good shit. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, if it takes till after Elder Scrolls 6 to get a new Fallout game, I mean, if we can just keep making the show,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'll hold
I'd
us
be fine
over.
with that. I'd be
Yeah,
fine with that.
if we just get the show until Fallout 5 or whatever, or Fallout whatever
Yeah.
the next one is, I'll be
Mhm.
upset. But like
Hmm.
I'll have something. I'll
Gi-
have something. And in that meantime, we'll probably get a remake or two.
yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Give
Exactly.
me the remakes and give me a season every couple years, and I'm fine to follow 5 now.
Mhm.
I'm with you. Okay, anything else from the show? Because there's probably a bunch of stuff I'm
Oh,
forgetting and
I'm
that I'll
sure.
remember as soon as we stop recording. But yeah, I think we covered the overall where it's like the Vault Tech stuff was
Yeah.
awesome. The whole
Hmm.
thing felt authentic to Fallout.
Yeah.
The characters are great. The performances are pretty damn good as well.
Hmm.
Like
Anything else
even
we haven't talked about?
I'm just I guess one thing I do want is just like the actual opening of the show at the
Hmm.
party, and it's like just the kid actor. I think we end up finding out her name's Janie.
Hmm.
Cooper Howard's kid.
Yeah.
Like, and she just pulled her thumb up. It's like, was it your thumb or mine?
Is it your thumb or
Like,
mine?
Dude,
Yeah,
incredible.
and it's acted pretty
ugh.
well too
Oh
by
Yeah.
by
yeah.
by everyone there. Yeah,
That gave me such like Joel and Sarah vibes
Oh
from The
yeah.
Last of Us, right? He's like
just picked her up and he's fucking on his horse. I
yeah.
was thinking to myself, look, I probably love my horse. I'm stealing a
Hmm.
car.
Yeah.
I am stealing a fucking
Hmm.
car.
Mhm.
But
Love the douchebag dad who's like literally punching guys in the face to keep him out
dude,
from his
Yeah.
vault and
it looks
shit
like
like
there's
that.
clearly room in there. Just
Yeah,
saying.
of
There's
course
only,
there is.
I think you can hear it. It's like muffled, but I think you can hear him
Hmm.
say, there's not enough room. It's only for us."
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
Hmm.
lying. Here's the thing: is he a piece of shit? Yes.
Yeah.
I don't really blame him for
no,
doing it
not at
though.
all.
Like it's one of those things. Like in this situation, it's like yeah, that is a low blow
Oh
move.
yeah.
Sometimes you got to do it
Hmm.
to
Well, because you
survive,
probably
my
only
dude.
have enough rations for however
Mhm,
many people are in your
mhm,
family.
mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
100%. It's just yeah, it was a moment. The
Yeah.
whole thing was a
Love
moment.
that.
And then
mhm.
you have the kids sitting down watching Grognak the Barbarian,
Yeah.
like from the
Yep.
comics
Hmm.
that you can find in Fallout. A bunch of them actually, bunch of
Mhm.
Fallouts.
Which yeah, I thought that was like great. Like all the set dressing, everything looked so authentic. Like
Old
even the
timey.
can of purified water she's drinking
Yeah.
from, all the props, they have like weapons that look straight out from the
Yep.
game. The Red Rocket
Oh,
set, that was
loved it.
incredible.
Loved that. We also get
Maximus
we
lifting the
also
power armor up on a chain. Love
Yeah.
that.
right, yeah. That's cool
Yeah.
cool imagery right there, just that by
Mhm.
itself. We get the
Yeah.
voice actor for Codsworth and how he was like a friend
Love that.
of Walton Goggins.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How much you get?
We
10 mil? I got 135,000 and one of the
And one of those
robots.
One of the
robots.
robots.
Yeah, I hear myself greet me when I come to the door. I love.
It was good.
Mhm.
It was good. It
Which,
was good.
yeah, that was another like if you know the What We Do in the Shadows
Yep.
TV show, that
Yeah.
was like another example of a character actor who was just in it for literally 2 minutes, stole that scene and was
Oh yeah.
done. Like, and so memorable.
Yeah. I didn't know he was the voice of Cosworth.
Me
Like
neither.
I didn't know
Could
Mm-mm.
have
that. And
fooled
maybe
me.
he just did like a sound alike, you know, like in
Mhm.
that moment, and he was
Right.
good at
Yeah.
it. But
Right.
like, if he
Yeah,
was the voice, like, huh, I had
I've
no idea.
seen so many clips from that show. The New York City should have like given it away,
Yeah.
but it didn't. But yeah, no, I love that, especially the killer robot we get in Super Duper Mart. Like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Just a small incision, just a huge buzzsaw.
Yeah,
I thought it was very weird that he or the robot gave the finger and then it's like, now I'm gonna gut you. It's like, what the fuck?
yeah, yeah.
What do you mean? Very
Opens the
follow
drawer of fingers. Oh, this one should fit
up.
just right.
And it
Mhm.
did. It
Yeah.
fucking did. All right.
Mhm.
It was great, but it
Which
worked.
then you forget about it, and the camera pans to Lucy, and you're like, oh yeah, her finger's like gray.
Which
Yeah.
is the
I
trigger finger. You see a
Yeah.
couple times. I think it's in that same
Mhm.
episode that you see like that's the finger that
Yeah.
she has to fire with
uh-huh.
now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which love. Shout out them just spelling government mint. You know,
Yep.
No end.
that whole scene, the Walton Goggins, when he's on like has such an on-screen presence, and when he's talking to the president of the government and he's sewing his trigger finger back together, like you're like shit is about to go down. Or when
Oh
they
yeah.
wake up the ghoul and you just see like vials being pumped to the ground, you know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like all
Yep.
that, all the ghoul stuff, incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
Which I never
Ghouls are
put
usually.
together
Go ahead.
that the guy made him into a ghoul with like the
Mhm.
serums and all
Yeah,
that.
that's something I was gonna get into. Like, because he could have just been like like a normal peddler, right? Like where he was just fucking
Mhm.
with you, right?
Yeah.
He did technically not lie about anything he said.
Yeah,
Technically,
Yeah.
because he said I have this toxin or this tonic or whatever that can
Yeah.
heal fucking any
Mhm.
like issue you have. He didn't
Yeah,
lie.
yeah,
He just
which
didn't mention the side effect.
yeah,
Exactly.
super funny when he comes up the first time, fucking the chickens.
That the same guy that was fucking the chickens, right?
Yeah, and then he's there in Philly or whatever. He's like, oh, medication for this, medication for this. Oh, foot medication, foot serum. I see you're limping, foot serum. Like this will heal your foot, whatever. And
Mhm.
then like all this stuff, and yeah, he makes that one douchebag scribe into a ghoul, which I love. Like when they see the Brotherhood coming and the arrows in the neck, he's like, "Oh shit, you're a ghoul. Like you
Yeah.
need to leave, dude. They're
You
not
don't
gonna take
belong
kindly to you."
here.
Yeah.
Sorry. But I also kind of like this will be my last point I make because I'm just gonna keep remembering things,
Yep.
Mhm,
roll forever. But the way like pain is dealt
mhm.
with is also very
Yeah.
video gamey because like
Yes.
the dude's foot is fucking blown to
Yes.
smithereens and he's walking on it forever and he carries that heavy
Mhm.
bag for half the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Lucy gets stabbed. She just does a stim pack,
Stim
and she's
packs.
pretty good. Not
Yeah.
100%, but pretty good. There's a lot of
Yeah.
instances like that where like people get shot and they just don't really react.
hmm yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Some of it did feel like almost like torture porn esque, where it's like, man, we are really putting these characters through a lot. Maximus is getting taken like is pulling a tooth to get enough caps, which I thought that was funny, but then just
Mhm.
gets the shit beat out of him, like just like just insane, relentlessly. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
He's relentlessly
Relentless,
getting beat
reluctantly.
reluctantly. No, not reluctantly. Relentlessly getting
I'm
the
sorry.
shit beat out of him. Gets up, gets a couple guys down, gets beat up again. The thumb thing, the finger monster, finger lake,
Gulper.
goon, the gulper, like all that shit. Lucy biting fingers off, like all of it just
The
felt like,
razor
oh,
blade in the boot.
yeah, yeah. Ooh,
That was done
dude.
by that character.
Yeah, which like all of this shit is so intense, but it also makes it feel like, yeah, this is an actual wasteland. Like
Mhm.
this isn't a
Mhm.
place you want to be. This is a place where you're gonna get fucked up.
Another instance where like the performances were really good and the writing was really good, where like I genuinely didn't know if Maximus or that character did it until the other character confessed. I had no idea.
Me too.
No idea. I was 50-50. Honestly, I was leaning more towards Maximus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Until they finally said it. So.
Which I totally mixed up the squires. Like I thought that the squire they sent in was that friend.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Yeah. It was kind of cool to see Maximus get like all giddy about like essentially bullying this guy who's been bullying him this whole time. And he's like,
that first moment when he just takes off his fucking crotch plate and is like,
clean this
and put it back on.
I love how there's probably a different name, but crotch plate is so good.
Also,
clean this.
Shout out the one dude in the bed in the Brotherhood just beating his meat. That's
the first thing you see in the entire frame.
I was like,
I saw a TikTok and he's like, this is the first thing I saw when I turned on this episode, when I walked into the room and my boyfriend was watching this episode. This is the first thing I saw.
Dude, I had to hit it with a rewind 10 seconds like double take, brother. That I couldn't believe it. That's where I was still getting used to the tone of the show, and I was like, okay, like the tone's a little more goofy. Oh, this dude's just beating his fucking meat. Like we need to just be so unserious right now.
The tone is like comically serious, and then super serious, and then super comical, and then back to the middle again.
I love it.
All right. So we are going to rank said vaults. We talked about 4, and then I just coupled 31, 32, and 33 into the same thing. Do we agree that makes sense?
Yeah, especially the way they're like mapped out. Like you literally see the triangle of them. They all work in unity. They're all there for the same purpose of keeping the gene pool, and especially keeping the gene pool of management, people who are going to make lemonade, people who are going to rise above. Buds. All
right. So 4, just as a little quick recap, 4 was the one where that made the gulpers and tried to make crossbreeds with creatures and humans. It was all scientists, and I think they talk about how it didn't last as long as they really thought it would.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think they said they made it through their trial period, right? The 5-year trial period.
I thought they did, but maybe they didn't. There is talk of other vaults. I mean, this might be the one, I don't know, but there is a mention in some of the games of a vault with all scientists, and like I don't know if that's several of them or what, but so that's the vault that created the gulpers. They tried to, which is awful, but I think it's talk about ranking the vault and then ranking the overseer as a different thing. The overseer was that scientist, but the vault also eventually became the place where Shady Sands like survivors were like welcome to. But it was only welcome to them because of like, were there any original scientists that like remained? Like that guy who was like with the clipboard and hurts his eye. Like, is he a descendant of a scientist or is he a descendant of Shady Sands? You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Right. To me, my read on it was that the 4 is taking in people in need. Like, so long as they have the resources to do it, they're doing it. And yes, some of those people are mutated and messed up, but it is essentially like a sanctuary and a safe place for people going through mutations. That one doctor takes off his cap and just has a nose on his forehead.
Which it was cool to see mutations in this way. Now they did it in like a comical way. Like I would have rather seen like a deformed like arms coming out and crap. But we see that in other ways already with the fingers and shit. So we get enough of that. But
super funny. The chick with the blue eyes walking by and fucking Lucy just is staring and can't stop. She's like, oh, sorry, like just so caught off guard, can't help it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So we have that sort of a give and take there. The overseer clearly would be pretty shitty on our list of overseer. But do you want to do 4 entirely and then move on to 31, 32, and 33?
And then do overseers?
So we'll do Vault 4 in its entirety, like the overseer and the vault itself, and then we'll move on to the other ones.
Yeah. So I think this one you got to go the overseer Chris Parnell, right? The guy with one eye.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, that was my
thought. He is the current acting overseer, and I think he's like pretty low on the list. Right. Like he's pretty cool, trial by death.
He was he was like very racist, not racist, but you know what I mean. Yeah, he was very like
really cool looking sword knife
Yeah.
thing, and
he's like, you have to
We need to get
welcome
that
their
sharpened.
culture,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can't, you make one bad joke and it bombs.
And that joke bombs. Oh, she clearly doesn't.
She doesn't get it.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually really funny.
I thought it was funny
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yep. Chuckle out of me.
But
Yeah.
to bring it full circle here, I do agree. Overseer, in terms of good or bad, yes, he's kind of a little piece of shit who's like kind of gets his way.
Mhm.
He has that kind of feel about him, but he did welcome these people in. He didn't kill
Yeah.
Lucy.
Yeah.
There's a
Terms of overseas go,
lot.
he's pretty good.
There's a
And
lot of positives here.
yeah, and even after like Maximus like fucked everything up, he was still like, "Hey, you two are free
Exactly.
to go.
Let's
He-
get out of
Just
here.
He is like your typical shitty, not
Yeah.
not Fallout
Exactly.
shitty.
Exactly.
He's like your typical shitty, but with a good heart.
Mhm.
He meant well. So, what was his actual name? Do we remember?
No.
I think we
I'm
just
just gonna put-
only see him as overseer.
I'm just gonna put one eye.
Yeah. Cyclops.
One eye over. Hey, that's offensive. Okay, so in terms of
I was a little
vaults,
to the left side.
Yeah.
in terms of vaults for 4, the best one so far is that gambling vault, and I
Yeah.
still think that one's better than 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I think, well, I don't know. 4 is tricky because it's like, yes, 4 when first thought up is like just scientists being in control, scientists controlling other scientists.
Mhm.
They're going more for a logical approach than an emotional approach. This is all scientific, and um, and they're putting science. They're almost like putting science above humans when it comes to this,
Mhm.
right?
Almost like all of Vaultec.
Yes, and you are seeing the direct aftermath of that. It make the gulper. Women are giving birth to piranhas. Shit is crazy. So it's like, yes, it started out.
They're baby gulpers. Okay.
Yes, it started out really fucked up, but now kind of just being like a safe haven for people with mutations, like a lot less messed up, you know?
Mhm. I'm totally with you. So
Yeah.
4A and a 4B.
4A, 4B.
I think
I think
if
we
I,
had to encompass the whole thing because we've done that with the other
Mhm.
vaults. We've like
Yeah,
taken the whole history, and I still have
yeah,
68, 69 as butt fucking vaults.
yes, yes. I think if gambling is number one, and then like butt fucking vaults is number two, if I have it correct, then
Uh-huh.
in terms of third worst, like this would be third worst for me. This would be right under that.
So it's one of those things where it kind of depends when you get there. Like if
Yeah,
you're one of the
true.
people who are
Mhm.
fucking making those monstrosities, it's like, well,
Mhm.
you kind of did this to yourself. So
But even when you get there, you're like also psychotic, like sociopathic scientist, so you'd probably
Yeah.
love that shit, right?
Well, because
I feel like if we are in this situation, we are probably one of the test subjects.
Right.
So we're probably one of the we probably have to be female then. We're not even there. I'm just saying. We're fucked.
Because I was just thinking, like, you think of the whole like society of scientists thing, because that's the
Yep.
part of the thing is like with science, like they have rules and regulations to hold them back from doing
Right.
those kind of things. So like if you have a whole society of them, it's like, oh, we can just do what we want. We
Yeah.
do what experiments we want, you know. Like,
Right.
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you. But then if you were to happen to be there like as a wastelander who just happens to have a mutation and you stumble upon said vault, very great.
Mhm.
Good for you.
mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think third, because the one right above that would be the cryostasis vault 111 from Fallout 4.
Yeah. Which
So
right.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
What am I calling this one?
Science mutation vault.
I was gonna put gulpers
Gulpers.
/ shady sands.
Yeah.
That way we at least know
We know.
both like time periods of said
Yep.
vault.
Right.
Okay, now getting into vault 31, 32, and 33. Their overseer. How are we, in my mind, and you can disagree, Bud Askins is the overseer of this vault because he is controlling fucking everything.
Yeah.
I see it as both Bud Atkins, but also McLean. Because
Okay.
like since the show starts off and 32 is already decimated, and so it's just 31 and 33, like it is Bud McLean at 31, and it is Bud Atkins at 31 and McLean at 33. And McLean, we find out really just douchebag in the final episode.
Yeah.
Like
He seems like a good dude, man. He seems like a good dude, and then you get the
yeah,
explanation.
yeah, literally, where he's like, oh yeah, no, he's just a pre-war like business executive. His wife
Mhm.
found out, tried to leave with the kids, and he's like, hey, you're not divorcing me and taking my kids. I'm dropping a nuke on you and blowing up a whole fucking community that's now
Yep.
thriving post apocalypse.
Mhm.
Like McLean is fucked up.
McLean is how it's spelled, I believe.
Mhm,
And then I'm also going to put Bud Askins with an S.
mhm.
Askins.
Which he is also evil. He is trying to keep the capitalist management bureaucracy alive in the
Oh yeah.
post-apocalypse. We don't need that. We
A
don't
lot
need,
worse than landlords. Just saying.
dude, straight up, they're up there. They're up
They're
there
up there.
alongside
They
landlords.
make the landlords what they are.
They
Yes.
give the landlords power. So if we're taking because this is a weird thing to rank
Throw
to bring
back
it
to one
back
of our other episodes.
to bring it back.
Yeah.
Are we judging Bud Askins as in essentially dropping the bombs, or are we judging Bud Askins as how he pertains to just this vault?
I feel like because it is overseers, you always have to do just the vault.
Okay.
Well,
I just think that lessens the thing a little bit. Is what I'm getting. It
I think,
lessens the blow.
yeah. I think he is like him and Cooper's wife are like both partners when it comes to dropping the bombs. Like they're the only two Vault Tech execs like at the table in the room with them, right? So he is like equal part culpable for that, but at the same time, like his angle isn't dropping the bombs and then having, being in control of America like Cooper's wife is. He's more just like, I'm gonna have managers and just keep Vault Tech alive, keep this company
So you
alive.
think the bombs getting dropped was more of the wife's
Yeah,
play rather
yes.
than Bud, whereas Bud was like, I think it's gonna happen anyway,
Yeah,
so I'm just preparing for this shit.
yes. And I'm preparing to make the best possible outcome, which is preserving my brain and preserving my good little
Buds
executive assistants, my CFOs, my chief marketing officers, all my business
managers.
people, everyone who's going to go above and beyond and make lemonade, and they're going to be the best.
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
he does constrict, like he does restrict that to these three vaults. And so part of me feels like, okay, well, there's not a whole lot bad in terms of like outside, that like if he's doing this within the strength of these three vaults, there's not a whole lot that's going to affect the outside world. But then you think about how McLean
Well,
literally nuked Shady
Mhm.
Shores, right?
well,
Shady Sands.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess the other thought is like I think they say in the show that it's 31 is essentially where they're keeping everybody, and
Mhm.
then 33 and 30 or 32 and 33 are like where they're like the breeding grounds to help keep
Yeah.
the gene pool like that.
Mhm.
So it's like,
Yes.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Yep.
Right. Like
So
you
yeah,
were gonna.
in a way, I guess
Mhm.
you could see Bud. Well, the people he chose and him himself are
Mhm.
pretty shitty people. Like they're just kind of like
Yeah.
out to get
Mhm.
their kind of like portion of their survival in
Right.
a pretty crappy way.
Mhm.
Like Bud is kind of their hero,
Yeah, but
right?
yes, and then you see like within Lucy, like she is kind of like the perfect example of what that end result should be. That end result should be like a happy-go-lucky,
Mhm.
person who's always going to try to de-escalate situations, always try to be civil, always try to live by the golden rule, do unto others what you would want done to yourself or whatever,
mhm.
like that. Like she
One shall
is.
always get sidetracked. Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
But she is like the textbook definition of like what the outcome of that vault should be.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you even see
And then
like
she saw through it.
that, and then you see at the beginning, like when you're first introduced to her, she's listing all these qualifications that she has. It's like,
Yeah.
Pretty good resume. Pretty
yeah,
good resume.
Yeah. Alec, I didn't think about it like that till you just mentioned it. But she's like the way she's like, yeah, I dabble in firearms. I do this. Like it is a resume. Like it is.
It's your
She is
stats. It's your smart
she is
or
applying
yeah,
for her
she's
position
special.
as wife.
special. That's a
You
good
know.
word.
Yeah.
but But yeah, and near the end, I was really hoping. This is just my inner writer talking. I was really hoping they would play the line in that Hank gives to Lucy one more time, where he says, "You're my world," and I
Yeah.
was hoping she would hear that again and then just start crying, because she would realize she's her world because of just keeping the gene pool going, and
Right.
not because she's her daughter or she's his daughter.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a missed opportunity. Just saying,
Mhm.
but you get the same sentiment is established. But yeah, so that's a really good point, Josh, about how Bud Askins is kind of like a huge cog in what made this all possible, but Hank
Yeah.
McLean, once there, kind of does more awful damage.
Yeah, well, yeah. You in both in McLean and his daughter, you are seeing the good and the bad outcomes. You're seeing, Lucy, the go-lucky do-gooder, but then you're seeing McLean as the evil scumbag that just wants to get his way and will do it no matter what, and he's gonna drop the nuke on innocent people.
Just because somebody did him wrong, his
He
Literally.
looks
life went up to the surface.
he looked like he belonged in Power Armor, though. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, he just had that face for Power Armor.
Oh
I'm just saying.
yes, yeah, dude, and
Okay,
especially when you fuck up his face at the end too, and he's got that scar.
get
You're
that
like,
fucking
dude, you're gonna be a fucking bad guy in this game.
Watch him die in the first 10 minutes of season 2.
Yeah.
That would also be very Fallout.
Yeah.
Like they just play into it, how it's just like this awesome battle, and then
Well, you did see the ghouls. Like, let's see if the T60 still has that weakness.
Dude,
super cool. I
shout
didn't
out.
exactly love the plot point of how he did that, but execution wise, I'm for it.
Dude, I love that plot point. A lot in the pre-war stuff, they mentioned like how he fought for freedom, how he was like a soldier, and he's like, yeah, I know the flaws of this. And when you give him his whole hallway scene, like the Batman, like Darth Vader, and he's
Love the
just in
scene.
the dark, just fucking murking, dude. It's just
I just
cold
think
talking.
I just
Love
think
it.
after 200 years of the Brotherhood, they would have altered.
They would have fixed it. Yeah, okay.
That's all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
that's
You would
valid.
think.
Even if it's a crude fix, like just like a
Yeah.
bloop, a little
Yeah.
plate there, you know.
Because, like he says, it's literally it was the weld that was the weakness.
Yeah.
Because you could just shoot you just break that weld and you could just go right through the guy's gut.
Yeah.
Okay. So
in terms of ranking, the ranking of overseers right now, as it is Braun in 112 is 1. That's the evil scientist.
Yeah.
13 overseer from 13. Red blue overseer from 19. That's the like playing with your mind. 111 overseer / budget cuts.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. House 21, the landlord. And then we have One Eye Overseer. Where do we see Hank McLean and Bud Askins falling into this ranking? Because in 13 was the one where he was like pretty much abandoning his vault and trying to create super soldiers and that kind of stuff.
Right. For some reason, I thought we had Mr. House a whole lot higher.
We did initially, and then Alec called us out. Do you recall? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Alec was like, I don't know why y'all think a landlord's worse than these motherfuckers, but okay.
And then you put 111.
It's because we literally just drew Mr. House as it pertains to that vault.
Well,
Mr. House as a character otherwise is different.
Yeah. That's right.
But I understand your hesitation because Mr. House, you and I know a little bit more about Mr. House.
You know what I was thinking though? I was thinking we have Mr. House ranked as a pretty fucked up overseer, but then we have like his vault as like, hell yeah, I'd want to live in the gambling vault.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think as overseers go, I think this might be like a top 3, honestly.
I think it's number 2. I think it's right under Braun, and I think there's an argument for number 1. But that's just me.
I'm inclined to agree, honestly, with that. Like,
this is where we get cooking. This is when we're this far in. This is where we gotta hash it out. Like I'm okay with 2, and the only reason I'm okay with number 2 is because I love Fallout 3, and that fucking quest is so fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
Tranquility Lane it's Alec. It's that good. It's that fucking good. All right.
Yeah. No, I think evil German scientists torturing these innocent people is a lot more fucked up than just keeping capitalism and American business bureaucracy alive and well, and greed alive and well. But
that's just all normal shit.
But I think that's the number 2 for me then.
But you gotta think like this guy nuked like not like a 35,000 population city, like just because his wife just betrayed him and went up to his
dude.
city. Went up
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
surface.
The Bud Atkins is like, okay, that's not so bad. The McLean is like, yeah, this is
But I think
fucked
we
up.
have to take Bud Askins into it, though. We have to say, like,
Yeah.
yes, this has to lessen it to some extent because of
Mhm,
the severity of the more or less severity is to the war or
mhm.
the nuclear bombs dropping rather than the vault
Well, this
itself.
isn't the pre-war. I'm talking about like the Shady Shore or
Yeah,
Sands.
I know what you're talking about. I'm saying
yeah. Mhm.
if you bring in the bombs dropping in his play in that, it's worse. But we're not bringing that in, is what I'm getting at,
Right.
because it's only how it pertains to said vault.
Hmm.
That's what I'm getting at. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
because
Yeah.
what I've said in previous episodes, like Vault-Tec can't really be the villain because they'd be
You're
them
right.
enough.
All of them.
Yeah,
They're all vaults that get overtaken like pretty early on by
yeah.
like
But
some other
still,
party or whatever. But even then,
McLean and his greed and like
do you,
obsession over power is a direct result from Bud Atkins. So like that's why I
sure.
do
Are
think
so
that
are you
he's
pushing for
number
number
two.
one, Josh?
I think I'm comfortable at two.
I'm also comfortable at two. Alec,
Yeah.
what is your vote?
Yeah,
Because
2 works for
if you
me.
think one, we can keep this conversation going. But
Right.
if you just want to end the podcast, we
No,
can say
no,
it's number two.
because again, like McLean is like the first generation example of that, and then Lucy's the second gen. Lucy and
Yep.
Are Ralph. I said Ralph. I think I mean Norm.
Norm.
So who the fuck is Ralph?
Lucy and Norm are the second generation examples of that, and they are, Norm's a little more like questionable, but Norm also has some not bad ideas when he's like,
Norm
let's
is
get.
norm for
Mhm.
normal.
Yes, yes.
Just saying.
Norm
Yeah.
is normal, and Lucy's the good do like the good doer.
Do
So
gooder.
I think like that second generation of Bud Atkins' plan is like obviously they're going to be less greedy and more altruistic as we go along. So yeah, I think two is good.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you think because of the end result, Braun
Yeah,
is
yeah.
worse?
It's
Oh
like
yeah.
if it were pertained to just the vaults, like sure it's not that bad, but like the results you're getting from doing this is like that's the fucked up thing,
Mm,
you know?
mm, mm, mm.
Like
Yep.
4 might be more messed up if it hadn't been for McLean doing what he did.
Yeah.
Because if 4 didn't have like the whole refugee kind of aspect to
That's a
it,
good
and it was
point.
just
That's a good point. Yeah, four
the
might
same.
even be higher on our list
Worse. Yeah.
if Shady Sands wasn't destroyed.
Yeah.
Because who knows what they would have done with more time to,
Hmm.
create those fucking monsters if they survived the first attack or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, there you have it, folks. So just as a quick rundown, our overseer rankings now are Braun from 112, Hank McLean / Bud Askins from, I did not put their vaults, 31,
From the triangle,
32,
the
and
trilogy.
33.
The
That's
triangle.
Delta.
Yeah.
Then we have 13 Overseer from 13, Red
Hmm.
Blue Overseer from 19, 111 Overseer / Budget Cuts. I don't know why I have that in there, but whatever. Mr. House from Vault 21, and then One Eye Overseer from Vault 4, because he's kind of just a normal shitty person and not
Yeah.
a Fallout shitty person.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then in terms of vaults, our ranking is number 1, Tranquility Lane. It still remains number 1. 19, Red and Blue. Vault 13, Fallout 1 / Deathclaw Enclave. I'm sorry, Vault 13, Fallout 1 / did I say that? Anyway. Number 4, Vault 111, Cryostasis. Number 5, Vault 4, Gulpers and Shady Sands. Number 6, Vault 68, 69, the butt fucking vaults.
Amen.
Number 7, Vault 21, Gambling Vault.
Hell yeah.
I probably messed that up, but I can go through it again.
We still need to rank 31 through 33.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we did?
No,
Oh,
we just did the overseer.
We ranked
I
overseers, not
done
vaults.
goofed. I goofed. You're right. Okay. All right. So where are we putting them? Where are we putting them, folks?
I mean, you're just kind of living for the most part if you're in 31 or 32 and 33.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
They have a pretty good life, all things considered.
yeah. Like you're just kind of chilling
Because
Yeah.
32 just failed because of like their own thing.
because
right?
they failed because they realized I think they found out what was going on with 31 because you saw
Right.
management like written out, management is death or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
They
think
said they were dead before the Raiders got in. So
right. I do think still though, it is these management practices, and so I do think it might be like top 3 for me
Of
personally.
shittiness?
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, maybe more towards like the middle somewhere.
Is it worse than the vault in Fallout 4? Vault 111. That's the cryostasis vault.
I feel like in theory that vault you're just like sleeping, you know, you're just chilling.
But you all die.
But yeah, it's less shitty than that one.
It's less shitty than that. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's like I just kind of start off. For me, I would almost put this between 21 and 68 and 69.
Whoa.
Because to me, it's like you're just if you're in 32 and 30, you're just chilling and you're just living your life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good point. But then you're always like, no matter what, you're always going to go back to management. You know, you're always going to go back to 31.
If you don't know it though, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The only reason 32 is just that they found out. But you never find out.
That's kind of a decent point, Alec, because like if you were one of the chosen management, you have it pretty good. You're going to be overseer, right? And then if you're not one of the chosen management, your life in the vault is so much better than it would be outside of the vault.
Yeah.
So, and you're pretty much just a normal vault dweller there. Because
Also,
the experiment is just like essentially making people believe. Yeah.
Also, shout out to the fact that they're just living on the volume, like a big sound stage with the fucking camera just like shooting up
a Nebraska
video.
farm.
Yeah, literally, dude. You know what? It might not be bad. Like if I was to live in there, plus it's not incestual. You know, you're preserving the gene pool. Just some fun cousin stuff, and then you apply for marriage, and you know you get an arranged marriage. It's, you know what? Maybe it's not that bad, guys.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, so
it's not bad until you get to the management corporate overlords stuff.
Do we agree that we would all rather live in the gambling vault? Because I feel like the gambling vault, you could still probably just die pretty quick if you play the wrong person in cards. But I don't know how that punishment would work.
Gambling is pretty cool.
It makes it more entertaining.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? I'd rather live in gambling vault, honestly.
Really? I disagree. Because I think Alec convinced me where it's like both parties, when you're in these vaults, you're living it up, man. The only reason anything happens is because someone fucking left. Right. That's the only reason any of this happened. But if you're in the vault, you're just living.
The only reason anything happened in the gambling vault was somebody cheated. Mr. House played them all.
And you think it's going to be a poker vault, one based on cards, and you're not going to have motherfuckers counting cards? Huh? People are going to be cheating left and right. This is going to be how the game goes now. Okay. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
You swayed me.
Yep.
I think it's actually the best vault. In terms of, like, if I lived in that vault, I'm probably one of the peons. I don't know what the fuck's going on, right?
Yeah.
I'm just there because I happen to have a nice chin or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't know. Or my great grandpappy had a nice chin.
Or you're like Norm. It's like, what do you do with somebody that's lacks enthusiasm at all their jobs?
That was a really good bit. I liked that.
That was a really good line. That's why I remembered it like partway through the rankings. And it's like, I need to bring that line up because I really like that point. Is serving.
I put the little subtitle for this one as management.
Management. Not bad.
If you haven't seen the show, genuinely go watch it. It's worth your time, Fallout fan or not. Also, if you missed our previous episodes, give that a watch as well. Alec, what other content do we have out?
We just had an episode go out this past weekend where we talked about, because there's some rumors came out of a PlayStation showcase in May. So we put some predictions out there. It was actually the same cast that's on this one. So.
Oh shit, it was literally the three of us. I completely forgot. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, well, so watch that content too. This has been the Pip-Boys of Fallout podcast.